good, but like good in a both bad and I can't say good. I'm lying. I'm conflicted.
How are you?
I feel like within the past like couple weeks, I've been pretty all right, if I'm being honest. It's like up and down. I feel like trying to keep track of how you're feeling right now with like the world literally ending, like actively, is kind of, it's sort of ludicrous because like it just changes so much. Because like right now, I feel like I'm really like satisfied and happy and like balanced out and at peace, but then like, you know, a couple days before I felt so like empty and just dissociative and just and kind of lost. And that's just the way it goes. You kind of go back and forth between like everything's good, I'm doing what I can, like trust the process, things will work out the way they need to be, and the universe will do everything. And then like also you know, the earth is dying, we're dying, I don't give a shit about anybody, what can I possibly do to make the world better, I should be doing this and that, but also like nobody's perfect, so like who's to say what's the right thing to do right now? And it's a nice fun little balance between the two.
How are you right now?
I am better than I was a week ago, Halima. I'm good because yeah, I'm in a different environment. I was at home. Currently, I am at my boyfriend's place because home was not great. So I'm just in a more like conscientious, calm, grounded space, like physically and like mentally. So yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing much better. I think if you had asked me this like a week or two ago, ciao, would have been a you know, but right now I'm like super chill. It's a nice place to be.
Being in Sweden and seeing how people act in terms of prehension, like in terms of people going out and caring about that it's a pandemic, I feel very like angry because I feel like a lot of people here don't know that it's a pandemic out there, and people don't understand that just because you don't have family that is affected by that might be affected by this disease or this influenza, I feel like you don't take that into account. You don't see it as a real thing.
This has been happening, like the killing of Black people by police has been happening forever. Right. And nobody thought then that they should check in on their Black friends. Yeah. But all of a sudden, check in on your Black friends, how are your Black friends? How are you feeling with all the visibility of Blackness at the moment? Because I guess we're generally quite like visible, but I feel like right now, like everybody's trying to make sure that they show that they're allies and stuff like that. So how do you feel at the moment, like the hyper visibility of being a Black person?
It's very strange. It's really weird. I was recording yesterday for like my podcast that I do, and it because I was talking about beauty standards, and I feel like that's like a microcosm of like that idea of visibility and representation.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized while I was recording, like, oh, like a large like portion of like how I experience that is not feeling visible and kind of actively feeling unseen by like the general public and everybody. So to have that kind of switch all of a sudden within the past month of like, oh, all of a sudden these people who, and like I know everyone has their own intentions, and like I'm trying to be better about not expecting the worst out of people, but also like when I know that you're like Miss Social Justice, a super like feminist, like I, you know, like that sort of thing, and then all of a sudden you're like texting me to see how I'm doing, and you're and like I feel like you can kind of sense like if it's authentic or not, or if it's coming from like a virtue signaling place, because I'll have people who have like checked on me and I'm like, I know things are probably really hard for you right now, and I'm just like, I'm not even American, so like even like with stuff like the issues with police brutality and a lot of the issues Black Americans face in this country, my connection to that is very different than someone who's actually like Black American and whose ancestors have a very different experience with that.
So Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, he went on the news a week or two ago. This was actually quite a bit ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Things that happened during this pandemic. It feels like something could have happened yesterday, and I'm like, this happened 12 million years ago while I was 2 years old.
literally. Yeah,
but he went on the news and he was saying that people have kind of deviated the message of Black Lives Matter because this was about an incident that happened in America, not about England, not about, the UK. It's about America. And I feel like a lot of people have that. I can really see you being rolling your eyes. A lot of people have that where it's not a UK issue, it's an American issue.
Right, exactly. There's so many different parts of the conversation that really just trigger me. Like, I have to be honest. And this is one of those like lanes of conversation that like I'm like, wow, the willful ignorance here. Like, I think there's a lot of deflection in the UK, and there's a lot of evasion. So I feel like the UK is known for its like, I guess, subtlety, it's kind of underhandedness. It's not the overt character of racism that America is. We know this. But, I said to my sister the other day, like, I think that racism in America is instant, cold-blooded murder, and in the UK it's a slow death. That's what I feel. I feel like it's like, we have instances, like, I was, when I went to that demonstration, I was telling people, we have our own examples of like current injustice. I was actually protesting for Black Lives Matter in general, but on my sign I was carrying the name of Belly Mujinga, and people didn't know anything about that situation, and it was kind of interesting to like walk through the park and people were whispering or kind of exchanging information, and some people did ask us for more information. My sister had the name of Shukri on her sign, and people were kind of starting little micro conversations as we were passing through. But I would hear like inaccuracies in information. I would hear people saying just the slogan of Black Lives Matter, like, or not slogan actually, but that kind of moniker. People were saying like, oh, what's that, like, what does that mean for the UK, that kind of thing. And I just felt like, okay, fair enough, there isn't as much media coverage of Belly's case, for example, but in general there's an attitude of looking away, and I think that's a distinctly British kind of reaction to racism, is to look away and to just deny people's voices and to squash people's voices. And so I'm not really quite surprised that's what the Labour leader voiced, because I think this is cowardly. It's certainly cowardly from him, but the culture in the UK reflects that, like that whole evasion of the truth, that we're not innocent, man. This is a UK problem. It's been this way, you know. Yeah.
I find it interesting when I saw somebody from our university, I'm gonna cut this out, right?
I'll name them.
I'll name them. Where she was talking about what was happening with George Floyd and stuff like that, and she wrote a statement kind of about it and racism in the UK, and she wrote that even though racism isn't over in the UK, blah blah blah. I saw that statement from her white mouth and it pissed me off so badly, because I feel like I think we need to stop. I mean, it's weird. I feel like people say that racism in the UK isn't overt, but like I feel like we need to kind of like stop saying that necessarily, because I feel like but a lot of Black people have been killed by police in the UK. They have been like that. I think I'm trying to remember the actual, I can't remember the name of the I think it was the Brixton riots where it was a result of 2 other Black women being killed by police or dying. One of them was killed by police in her home, and another one was killed police raided her house. The next morning, she had a heart attack and she died. Like, there's 2 incidents that happened, and they were kind of the reason for the Brixton riots. I can't remember the year. I think it was either the 80s or something. But there's so many. There's so many instances of like police killing Black people in this country, but and not even that, because it's not new at all. But not even that, but like Black people in this country suffer through violence that doesn't necessarily involve killing them instantly, but it does involve harm to their mental health, harm to their well-being. I'm sure it's the same in Sweden as it is in the UK and in America, where a majority of the people who are dying from the coronavirus here are Black, Asian, minority people.
Yeah, same. Like in Sweden, the Black majority is Somali. Like that's the biggest Black majority in Sweden, and because of that, because they haven't gotten the information, they've gotten the information, but like because Sweden is very weird, they're giving out the information very trickling. Like if you see it, you see it. Like if you're a person that might not language, and Sweden sometimes it's like the way it's situated, the communities are very sometimes segregated. It's mostly like sometimes there's a huge community of Somali people that live together, and there's like you might not see like a lot of information coming in because of that, like especially if it's in Swedish. So they haven't even gotten out the information in different languages to those communities. So a lot of the people that were effective in the beginning were the Somali community dying of corona.
Sometimes I think their best isn't good enough.
Another thing, I keep trying to go between like the balance of like, that's why people like Terry Crews kind of make me a bit crazy.
Oh my
God.
Like,
it's like, oh, like we need our white brothers and sisters for the whatever the heck, and it's like, but like, do we? Because like I don't think you can be white and be a good ally, but also like that doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Exactly.
And, like, because am I even a good, like, I don't think I'm doing a good job at all. I feel like I could be doing much more, and it's just like it's a whole mess.
So how do you feel like seeing things reopen, seeing people go out? Like, how do you feel as a Black person?
I think for me, it says a lot. It says a lot more about not only what's like the powers that be value. We know that they value capital and money and the interest of the economy more than human lives. We have been conditioned to such a degree that we can't even see past that. Like, I think if we want to go out, like I completely get the itch to like go out and, you know, integrate back into society. But when we aren't taking the kind of restrictions as Black and brown people, we're doing ourselves a disservice because we can't look to the institutions that take care of us to take care of us. Like, that's not what they're built really for. Our personal responsibility, I think, to kind of make sure that we're checking ourselves and each other, because it's all we really fucking have. Like, in this society, that we're not being taken care of the way we should be. Really take hold of, for example, like the healthcare system here and say, listen, man, we saw how negligent you were towards our demographic. We're not gonna let you get away with it.
And this is one of the other things I think that comes under Black Lives Matter, because Black Lives Matter isn't just police brutality, like police murdering Black people. It's the everyday anti-Blackness that we see. So like the fact that Black people are the ones that are mostly affected by, or Black, Asian, minority ethnic people are the ones that are most affected and dying from coronavirus, that's a Black Lives Matter issue, because there's systematic problems that make sure that Black, Asian, minority people are the ones that are doing jobs that would mean that they're more at risk, or they live in areas that are maybe overcrowded, blah blah blah, or the fact that information is given to them last because of language barriers, like things like that. So that's a Black Lives Matter issue. But do you see, because I know I was getting really annoyed the other day when I was seeing a bunch of like people I knew going to like pubs in the UK, and a lot of them are white, going to pubs and having fun. Do you see that as like another issue of like privilege, because they don't have to think about that, whereas we have to think about the fact that our communities are dying at a higher risk?
Yeah, because I feel like we've always been in that mindset, being like Black people, to like always keep an air out, like always looking out for ways to be better. I feel like that's constantly like told to us, and I feel like people that are white, they don't, the privilege of them just being, the privilege of them just thinking they will be fine, whatever happens, like it won't happen to me, that's instilled in them. Like they'll always be thinking like, I'll be fine, it has nothing to do with me. Like like people in my community haven't died, like I haven't seen people die, automatically then it doesn't exist. That's the same thing with racism. If it's not affecting me, then does it really exist? Like I feel like that's the same mindset they have when they think about like corona or COVID. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, of course, it's an issue, and I feel like it needs to be addressed, but I feel like not a lot of people want to make those connections, because then everybody would be like, is everything about racism? Mm-hmm. Everything a race issue? Yes, I'm sorry, it is. Everything is. Everything is. We had a huge like Black Lives Matter protest here in Gothenburg. I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, like a month ago or something. So many people showed up. We were like in Gothenburg, we must have been like more than like 5,000, 6,000 people showing up. And afterwards, there are like so much discourse, like so many like pieces in like Swedish media saying like, but we're not racist in Sweden. Like we don't understand why we're not America. Like we don't have a systematic racism. Like we like trying to like make it look like it's an America issue rather than Swedish issue as well. And that's the problem. It's the problem that so many people, especially like, I'm not even going to say Sweden, I feel like it's a Europe issue, where they don't see themselves as part of a systematic racist system. And I feel like that is what needs to be addressed worldwide. It's not an American issue. It's y'all too.
Basically answered my other question, which was, do you feel like people are talking about anti-racism and acting in a helpful way? You've already answered the question, really.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think the reason why that is, though, is because it's so overwhelming when you're one person and you're faced with this like big systemic issue to figure out how you can make things better. Mm-hmm. I think the reality of it is, especially in America, we're a very individualistic society. So we always think of things in terms of ourselves and how we can make things better for ourselves, and then maybe the people around us who are also benefiting our lives. We don't really work as a unit. And I think until more people or enough people realize the power we have as a unit to do things that aren't like, do things that are long lasting and make long lasting changes, a lot of these issues will never truly be fixed the way that we would like them to be.
How are you feeling right now with the hypervisibility of being a Black person right now? Because everybody is being like, I'm sorry, Black people, I was racist to you that one time. I'm sorry I don't give you jobs. And I'm sorry. How are you feeling with the hypervisibility of being Black in this moment?
Like, I'm conflicted, because I'm just, at one point, I'm just like, good, you're acknowledging your racism, you're acknowledging your privilege. Nice, okay. Like I said before, the only thing is, don't fucking apologize to me. Don't sit there, like I said, being nice to 3 of your Black friends. Like, do something. Like, I don't give a shit if you're nice to me. Like, really, like, nice for you that you're getting that, like, positive allyship that you might need, but I'm not giving that to you. So at least, like, do something, like, sign up petitions, go, like, talk to your mom about, like, what Black Lives Matter means, like, talk to your mom about, like, Black issues, like, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to hear your, like, fucking sad-ass note in my DM talking about, I'm so sorry, oh my god, like, I've been such a bad person. I don't give a shit, like, really, like, shit, oh my god. You know how many of them had to shut down? Do you know? Like, I was hey, sis, like, this is not about you, this is not about me, it's about, like, a movement that's bigger than both of us. So if you want to be, like, and I hate the word ally, like, I fucking hate the word ally, because that means, like, you, like, we're giving a nice word for white people to care. Have we ever gotten a word like black people care about everybody? Have we ever been called like allies or like been given a word so we can feel better about like being nice to everybody? No, we haven't. So I feel like the word ally is like for them to be like, oh my god, I'm an ally, I'm doing something. Now I'm just gonna say white supremacy. Honestly, I'm just gonna be like it is.
Forever, baby. I'm stop saying white privilege. I've stopped saying it completely. I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick. Like, investigate it, and also stop saying you're gonna use your privilege for good. As I'm talking about the fact you want to dismantle systems that give you privilege. Do you know what I mean? Using privilege for good, so you're gonna keep putting us into the same bullshit system that hurts us. But you're gonna use your privilege for good.
If you want to use your privilege, use it for good. It's not a superpower. I'm sorry. Like, what is this? Like, what the fuck is this?
It's not superpower. It's pure evil. It's evil. It's not a superpower.
Like, we don't want to use it for good. You should dismantle it.
Mm-hmm.
You should be taking it down, not
abolish it.
What the fuck? What's wrong with you? Like, I don't know, man.
Do you feel like, as a black woman, it's harder for you to, like, openly express your anger?
Oh, 100%. I feel like my entire personality is centered around coming off as approachable and palatable as possible.
Yeah.
And like, that's just the honest truth. I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to completely like reverse, because I feel like it's still true to who I am as a person, as it's not being like super chaotic and volatile outwardly, but like even the way I like speak and the way I present myself, like I know that if I want to express like a lot of the emotions that would be associated with anger and frustration in a way that people will actually process and acknowledge, I'll be able to get away with it more if I speak at like a leveled tone like this, and I say exactly what I mean without raising my voice or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I get big and express how literally anyone else would, then like I'm not going to be taken seriously. And that's just how it just feels like how it is.
So I feel like anger makes me do things, so I value it, but then it is something that is manipulated for black people. I feel like black people can't just feel it.
But that's what,
even though I feel like it's a great emotion, I feel like it's a fantastic emotion, but I feel like because white people manipulate it, or non-black people manipulate it for us, it becomes something that, like, I feel like I think it's a great emotion, but I also feel like I can't handle it because I feel so much anger.
But they don't see anger though. Like, it's not anger. They see an unruly black person.
Yeah.
Like, it's not anger. They see, like, it's when they say angry, they don't mean angry. That's why I fucking hate the word. It's not like when they say Zamzam is angry, it's not like angry in terms of like shit. Like, anger comes from somewhere. Like, if I said like, if I told you basically you're angry, and then you told, and it would be, you would see that it's coming from somewhere, or like I would understand that it's me saying you're angry because of something. Mm-hmm. But when they're saying angry, they don't mean anger. They mean this black person is being fucking unruly. Like, they don't understand their position. They should be playing right now. Like, that's what I see when they say angry. It's not like, can this simmer down? That's what I see. Like, calm down. Like that. I don't fucking like being called angry when I'm trying to explain to you, like when I'm trying to explain important issues to you. That's not like, I am angry. The situation is I am angry, but you need to understand why I'm angry. It's not just me being angry because of the sake of being angry. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like, at least like the conversations I've had, like being like the angry black woman, or the loud black woman, or the fucking negative black woman. So for me, it's a tightrope to walk, to constantly want to move the fucking issue forward and have it be a talk, like a conversation, but at the same time people like monitoring or saying, what's not monitoring, it's not the word I'm looking for, it's policing your anger. The hyper-focus in my life is that sometimes I fall into the situation where I constantly talk about like Black lives, and Black Lives Matter. But like what's I've noticed is the forums that I've been following before that is like they don't talk about Black trans lives. And that's been something that's been super like illuminated for me. And I was like, shit, fuck, like this is actually true. Like if Black trans women are freed, like in terms of like if that happens for them, then it happens for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's one thing that I took in is like I've always supported Black trans women or trans women in general, but like what I've noticed is easy to fall into these like Black Lives Matter situations where like you don't even look at trans women, like you don't include them in the narrative. And that's what happened for me, like working at Monkey. Our first statement, because I wrote the statement for Monkey, the first statement that went out, like we were supposed to talk about Black Lives Matter, and I noticed that all the names were of Black people, but like not trans women, and trans women and men, not even trans women, but Black trans women and men were excluded from this narrative. And I saw that and I was like, shit, we need to include them in this narrative as well, because they're also dying at a crazy fucking rate. And they're also like, they're part of the fucking Black community. So I feel like this is one thing that's been crazy that I've been educating myself on and following like so many pages talking about like trans issues and Black trans issues and stuff like that. So that's been illuminated for me 150%.
I think especially for Black women, especially like in our world, when Black women are either hyper visible or incredibly invisible. And it's a unique space to kind of exist in. Because people only want to see you when they want to see you.
It's on condition.
Yeah, exactly.
It's messed up.
It's bullshit. Completely bullshit. But I asked the other girls this question, but how do you navigate the space as a Black woman of kind of being hyper visible 1 minute and then being or feeling completely invisible the next?
Mate, I don't think I do. I don't think I really do. Like, I think that's something that's going to take me some time. I think about, I think I don't really know how I do. I think I just try to center myself in Naima and think, what does Naima need? I know that like I have this huge, crushing feeling of social responsibility, and sometimes it can be like damaging, and I need to just like take off and be like, yo, you know what, man, you're a baby girl, like you're 21 and you have your things to like think about. Like you have to protect yourself, and you know, like there's the demands of the world and then there's your own demands of yourself, and you have to like definitely I don't feel like it's necessary to sacrifice myself, because when I feel exhausted or I feel like fatigued, like there's someone else of like my experience, you know, or another Black woman who I would like to share this space with, and she probably took her nap last week and she's ready to work today, and I just take my nap today and work next week. Like that's how I kind of think of it, you know. If I'm too tired, there's an abundance of Black women who deserve to be heard, of Black people who deserve to be heard, when I just feel like I can't be speaking right now, I can't be showing up right now, and to take a fucking minute.